Okay. What is going on, guys? Welcome to Stock Talk with Nico Criticos. Today, we're going to be going over Microstrategy stock, or at least that's what it used to be called when I first found out about this. Now, their name is just Strategy Incorporated, which I don't like it as much as the last name. But the ticker is MSTR, and this company is at a 48 or $49 billion market cap. They are famous for having a large stockpile of Bitcoin. So we're going to talk about that. But this company engages in the provision of enterprise analytics and mobility software. The firm designs, develops, markets, and sells software platforms through licensing arrangements and cloud-based subscriptions and related services. Okay, but again, they're made famous from the Bitcoin that they have. So past this stock has been on a wild ride, right? Past 5 years, the stock was not really doing much. It hung out at about $20. Then this year, the stock went all the way up to $455, which is just insane. Now it's all the way down to 172. Okay. So let's get into some of the numbers here, right? We have revenue has been declining since, well, I should say it's been declining since 2021, but the last couple quarters, the last three quarters have actually shown a little bit of improvement, okay? But they're only doing $474 million of revenue. That's top line sales. And this company is still all the way down to a $49 billion market cap. This company was what, worth well over $100 billion a couple months ago, and they're not even doing 1 billion in sales. So keep that in mind. Um, this must have been a one-time, I don't know if they, who knows if they sold Bitcoin or what happened here, but some one-time income where they made 4.5 billion. Typically, they're losing money. Typically, they're losing around whatever, a billion to a couple $1 billion. Okay. Free cash flow, of course, it's negative and just so what, but they have positive EPS. Now, isn't that interesting? So they have positive EPS, positive EBITDA, but negative net income, negative free cash flow. Then the debt is up to $8 billion, barely any cash. And shares out, well, there we go. That explains, well, that also makes it confusing because why is EPS positive then? This is so odd. Okay, so shares outstanding. They're obviously raising a bunch of money. They've doubled their share count over the last year, which is just awful. The last 2 years or so, they've doubled their share count, which is terrible. That means the stock should be cut in half practically from that price. Okay. There's a lot of red flags with this. Let's look at PE the last five. Actually, well, they don't have a PE because they're negative. You have to look at price to sales. Okay. So price to sales, um, Jesus, price to sales the last 3 years. It was as low as a seven, I guess, a couple years ago. It went all the way up to 262 times price to sales. That's ridiculous. And now we're down to 100. Okay, but again, you can't really use those metrics because the company is valued at this because of their Bitcoin. But you still should pay attention to if the company even makes money because again, if you're bullish on Bitcoin, why wouldn't you just buy Bitcoin? That's what I don't understand with some of the people that hype up this stock. Why wouldn't I just buy Bitcoin instead of this? It's not like it's a great business and it's like, something to fall back on. Like the company loses money, right? The company loses money. I don't know why their EPS is positive. That doesn't make any sense to me. So then we go over here, price to sales again, 92 times. This is just crazy. This is what's interesting though. This is where things get interesting. So like I said, they're worth $49 billion. That's after falling what? How much did they fall this year? 60%. Okay, so that means the stock was 120, $130 billion at a certain point this year. However, a couple months ago, when they reported end of September, they had $58 billion of equity. So if that was the case today, which it's probably not, but if they had 58 billion in equity and the company's trading at 48 billion, that might be it looks like a good time to buy, right? But again, that was at the end of September. What was Bitcoin trading at the end of September? It's probably really high, right? End of September, yeah. Bitcoin was 109,000, okay? So it's down now to only 84,000. So that means their equity, their assets are down huge, right? That means this assets now is probably down to what, 55, maybe 55 billion, something like that. So that means this number is probably down to whatever, 40 or 40 in the 40s, right? So they're really only it's probably close to what the company's trading at, to be honest. If the valuation right now on this stock is 48.9 billion, that's probably what they have in equity. It's probably close to equity. So there's just a lot of red flags. Okay, red flag one, the revenue has not gone anywhere in 5 years. Negative net income, negative free cash flow, tons of debt, $8 billion of debt, insane growth in shares outstanding, terrible for the stock price. That's another red flag. How about the price to say? I mean, of course, you're getting it for the Bitcoin, but it's not a strong business. They have a ton of debt. They're making the stock price worse by diluting shareholders with issuing shares. Their price to sales is terrible. So I just see a whole lot of red flags. What do analysts have them doing anything for EPS coming up? Okay, so supposedly it went from -6 a year ago to now they're going to do 49 this year and then down to 25. This just looks like a mess. The only way I would say I would never want to own this stock. The only way I could see something making sense to buy this is if you said, okay, they have whatever, $50 billion of equity because of Bitcoin, and the stock's down to, let's say, a $30 billion market cap. That might make sense. That's like what Warren Buffett and Benjamin Graham would preach. But other than that, I don't see why you'd want to own this stock. So if if you're watching this video and you feel like you totally disagree with me and then I'm missing something or you have a different opinion, please let me know. Comment down below what your thoughts or your opinion is on this, and I'm interested to hear that. So thank you very much. I will see you in the next video.